Hey guys, before this video begins, I want everyone to go down to the description section below and hit that link to go subscribe to Golden Scouter. The guy makes some really awesome content and some of the most original stuff this community has ever seen, so please make sure to go support him. But with that being said, enjoy the video.
Hello everyone, it is your host, the Golden Scouter, bringing you another Dragon Ball Super discussion. And today with me to discuss Dragon Ball Super, I have a very special guest, as Mark always says. But everyone, have a very warm welcome to Mark from Reel to Reel Productions. How are you doing, man?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me back on the channel. It's always a pleasure. What are we going to be talking about today?
So we're going to be talking about Jiren and what could his special ability be. So I have a theory that Jiren may have the ability of foresight. And just to kind of define this is basically the ability to see in the future. But the thing is, if Jiren can see into the future, how long would be plausible for it not to be so overpowered? Because one of the reasons why I have this theory in the first place is because I, along with a lot of people, are actually theorizing that Hit might not have the spotlight this entire tournament, and that it's actually going to be shifting towards Jiren. It's kind of likely that it will be, considering the fact that every single time we pan over to Goku, he's just like, "Where's Jiren? I want to fight Jiren. I love Jiren. Where is he?" And so I think that Jiren is going to have an ability that's really going to make everyone pop. And the reason why I think that that would make pretty much everyone's minds blow in a way is just because if Jiren can see in the future, he would know exactly what Hit is going to do and what Goku or anyone else is going to do. So that way, he would actually know their strategy before they even make it. And even just go further beyond that, it's a perfect counter to Hit's time skip ability. But let's say Hit's time skip is 4 seconds. All Jiren needs is to see in the future by 5 seconds, and it would completely counter Hit's time skip ability. But enough about me kind of like explaining my point of view and why I think that Jiren may have foresight. What do you think about that, Mark? Do you think he has foresight, or do you have another ability that he might have?
You know, the one thing I really like about that idea is it kind of puts into perspective what's going on in the Tournament of Power and kind of explains why Jiren has been so reluctant to fight everyone. Just kind of sitting there watching people, seeing how they fight, and then potentially getting an idea of how they fight, and then being able to utilize that knowledge of his observations with the idea of foresight, so they can't do anything to basically come at him. And plus, one of the things that we saw when they were building the Tournament of Power stage, and he didn't move because if he had foresight, he would have realized that it wasn't going to hit him. Obviously, Goku wouldn't have actually seen that himself, so he would have actually had a situation where, you know, he would have gotten, you know, he thought he was going to get hit, you know. So I think that is such a cool idea. It's not something I even thought about, and kind of something that would really put Jiren over the edge and allow for a really awesome fight and for him to body Hit amazingly, but still have Hit be on that level. The only reason Hit couldn't fight him or even touch him is because he can't look beyond. He might be able to stop time, but he can't look that far ahead into the future. I mean, that was one of the things that Goku was doing when they fought over in the last tournament, was Goku was outspeeding Hit or something like that. I'm not really sure on the math or science of that, but at least it looked like the Kaioken times 10 with Super Saiyan Blue was allowing Goku to literally speed past Jiren or Hit. He wasn't necessarily calculating the entire time. He was just moving faster. And it would also kind of open up the door to one of the things a lot of people have said that Jiren might have. I mean, a lot of people have said that Jiren could potentially have the thing that Whis was telling Goku and Vegeta that they needed to perfect, and Beerus doesn't really know how to do either, is just letting your body move and not thinking about what you are going to do, this, that, or the other, and just react. And it would be really interesting if Jiren's ability, you know, this whole thing of foresight, is he's observing everything that's going on, getting a feel of what they're going to do, and then has the ability to basically not necessarily look into the future or know exactly, but know kind of every outcome of everything. The one thing I would say, and if you guys have seen this, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, I'm sure they've done this in several other things, Terminator and all this other sci-fi stuff, where we see robots or, you know, artificially enhanced human beings basically looking at things and determining the outcome, like mathematically, of like what is possible and how to counter it. That could be what you're talking about. That's the way I would describe it without actually going too much in depth about how it would work one way or the other. So it would be cool if Goku during this fight were to basically let himself go and literally just let his body react without ever thinking about something, without thinking of possibilities or what the best strategic move would be. And that would be a really cool way for him to counteract this foresight ability that you're saying Jiren could potentially have. Plus, we already know that Hit can use the Tokotobashi in the World of the Void. That was a huge fan speculation going into the particular tournament. We know he can use it. We know that Jiren's going to have something that can counteract it, and this is an awesome, awesome ability idea that you've come up with here. And one of the things is, I'm gonna go out on a limb. A minute. If he could calculate a minute, like every possible move that someone can do in a minute, and know how to counter it, and basically be fast enough to counter it or whatever, or even just see into the future like you're saying, that would be awesome. Because we've had so many instances in Dragon Ball where a minute just seems like a lifetime of a fight. And if someone cannot figure out how to do any of this stuff within a minute, or can't fight someone for a minute, they get demolished, they get beaten better, worse and worse than we've ever seen them get beat before. And I think that would be pretty awesome.
I think so too, and I also think that this gives Gohan a really good chance to shine in this moment. Because Gohan is someone who always studies. Maybe he studies something like quantum mechanics or something like that. Probably a little bit too complicated for Dragon Ball, but maybe Gohan has really studied some kind of science to where he's like, oh, like, I've heard of this phenomenon before. It's called blah, blah, blah. And, like, it doesn't even have to be, like, something that is real or anything like that. It can just be just like, oh, hey, there's just, like, this science of, like, seeing into the future and predicting things and stuff like that. And Gohan is the one who ends up telling Goku how to actually counter this. Like you were saying before about how Whis said that Goku and Vegeta need to fight and not think about things so much. I think it'd be a perfect moment for Gohan to kind of say, like, hey, like, this book has the wisdom of the gods in it itself. Whis said this, and it's a perfect time to bring it up again, and I think it would be just a great thing for Jiren to have, especially whenever you were talking about it being a minute. If there was a minute left in the Tournament of Power, and it was Goku, Gohan, or whoever else fighting Jiren, I mean, there's the whole thing in Dragon Ball Heroes where it's kind of teased in a way where it might be Golden Frieza fighting Jiren first before Goku.
Yeah, that's something I'd really like to see too, Jiren fighting Frieza. But one of the things I really like about Jiren having basically a minute on everyone, no matter how this technique actually works out, whether he can literally see into the future like you're saying, or whether he's just so good at fighting that it's not even really an ability, it's just his mind and the way that he interacts. Like one of the things you were saying about Gohan basically studying and always being a martial artist and also a scholar is we've seen those visual things that they've shown us with Jiren basically meditating the same way that Gohan's meditating in the intro, or at least the old intro, and how those two kind of seem to go together. So it'd be really interesting if he's not just like, Jiren isn't just like a martial artist. He doesn't have something like the Tokotobashi to really, I guess, make him that much of a better fighter, but he's just a smart fighter. He's a really awesome guy. He decides that he needs to go, regain his stamina, sit in the outskirts of the tournament, watch everyone figure out who the biggest threats are and figure out their fighting styles to the point where he can literally sit there and in his head almost instantaneously calculate everything that they're going to do within a minute or something that hits Tokotobashi can't do anything for him. And also having Gohan potentially, as you said, fight Jiren and having to use his martial artist skills with the mind that he's been developing this entire series. I think that would be really freaking awesome.
Me too. Because not only does it make Jiren just seem that much more awesome, but it also makes it to where Gohan, like you were saying, uses both his brain and his brawn in this fight. So it kind of makes it to where all the fans of Gohan who are like, I like Gohan the way he is, like wanting a peaceful life and being a scholar, those fans are pleased. And then the fans who are like, ugh, me no like Scholar Gohan, me like Teen Gohan, me like Ultimate Gohan. Those fans can be pleased too with Gohan looking so badass. So to me, it seems like a win-win situation for Jiren seeming like just worth the build-up, and then it's also a win-win for all the Gohan fans who have been waiting so long for him to do something that they've all been wanting him to do since like him versus Cell or Gohan versus Super Buu. I mean, that would bring one of those moments where the Gohan fans are going to be marking out, and it'll also kind of give Jiren like his own unique stamp of just like, this guy's awesome and this guy is a worthy adversary for Goku.
This guy is what Gohan could be, and like this is what people like think that Gohan should be, and what he could be if Gohan was like his father. And I think that that's something that's really interesting, is like it kind of allows us to sit there and be like, Gohan could potentially be a little bit more useful in the future, and it, like you said, a rival to Goku that really does kind of hit the right tone and the right structure, where it's not necessarily maybe even just an ability, it's just the way this guy acts, and it's just the way this guy thinks about the world around him. I think that would be super cool.
Same here. And also with just the ending, just to kind of bring that up again, like how it's hinted that Goku and Gohan might be the last ones, it really does give them a really good dynamic to kind of bounce off one another, because we've never really seen Goku and Gohan actually team up against someone to act like someone that they actually need to beat and fight. Like, we've seen them train together, we've seen them have a lot of like good moments, like slice of life moments, but we've never actually seen them fight together and complement one another. So I mean, like, some people count like the whole father-son Kamehameha, but that's a little bit different. I think that Goku's just natural knack for fighting and just being a martial arts genius whenever it really comes down to it. I wouldn't necessarily say martial arts genius, I would just say fighting genius. Like, he has that traditional trope of shonen heroes where they decode their opponent's moves as they're fighting. I'd like to see what they could do against someone like Jiren, especially if he has this ability.
I completely agree, man.
Yeah, but do you have anything else to say before we wrap this up? I think we've had a pretty good discussion here.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I hope everyone has liked it, but I'm tapped out, man. That was a really good, that was a really awesome theory, and whether, like I said, whether it's him just being smart and calculating, or it's him having some kind of Tokugabashi move that allows him to see in the future, we don't know. But either way, it would be really cool.
Yes, definitely. The whole foresight and the whole thing about Whis saying that they need to just fight and not let their minds overthink things, that would be great. But anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of the theory down in the comment section below. Do you think that Jiren might have foresight? I mean, it makes sense since we saw him dodge those blocks, and from what I know, the ring blocks don't have ki to sense. But, as I was saying, guys, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure to go sub to Mark from Real to Real Productions. I'm sure you are, but he makes awesome content. I'm going to leave the link to Real Productions, where he makes Dragon Ball content, and his Real Talk channel, where he makes talk about movies, TV shows, and box office hits. And with that, guys, thank you for watching, and have a great day.